Good morning, I'm Rose Lee. Today we'll feature summer tips on health, sun, safety, and Amazon's best books of the year so far, and an author who shares her life experience and her leading character in her new book, When It Falls Apart, and why triple-negative breast cancer affects disproportionately minority women, all when we return. According to the American Cancer Society, triple-negative breast cancer, TNBC, accounts for about 10 to 15% of all breast cancers. Joining us this morning to discuss what you don't know about the most aggressive type of breast cancer and why it disproportionately affects Black women is Ricky Farley, CEO and co-founder of Touch, the Black Breast Cancer Alliance, and a stage 3A triple-negative breast cancer, TNBC, survivor, along with Dr. Monique Gary of the Grandview Health Penn Cancer Network Cancer Program. Good morning, Ricky, and good morning, Dr. Gary.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Dr. Gary, define what is TNBC and how is it different from other types of breast cancer?
Triple-negative breast cancer is defined by, and it's also named because, the cancer cells for these patients lack stations called hormone receptors that help to receive the signals and tell these cancer cells to grow. And what that means is that it is more difficult to develop targeted therapies for these types of cancers, and chemotherapy tends to be the mainstay of therapy. It means that these cancers are more aggressive, and there are studies even just recently as this month that show that Black women are more likely, up to 30% of our cancers can be triple negative. We're diagnosed at younger ages, at later stages. There's a higher rate of metastasis or spread through the body, and this all equals a higher mortality.
Tell us, what are some of the signs and symptoms of triple-negative breast cancer?
Well, the signs and symptoms of TNBC are awfully similar to the signs and symptoms of other types of breast cancer, in that the number one sign or symptom is no sign at all. It is diagnosed on screening mammogram, and this really highlights the need for women to get their annual screening mammography.
Ricky, tell us about your experience with triple-negative breast cancer as a survivor, and how were you diagnosed?
So I went to the doctor for my annual checkup, which is very critical for all women to do that, and my doctor found the lump. And the pathology showed that it was stage 3A triple-negative breast cancer, and I did a double mastectomy by choice. I did a lot of chemo, a lot of radiation, and then a year to the day of my diagnosis, it came back, which is very typical of triple-negative. You know, we're the only breast cancer subtype that doesn't have a drug to prevent recurrence. So it came back. My doctor said, okay, Ricky, you're now metastatic. You have 2 years to live. Get your affairs in order. And I said, well, I can't really die right now. I have a daughter at Dartmouth. I have to put her through school. So me and God need to work this out. What have you got for me? And I ended up finding a specialist. She put me on some experimental drugs at the time. And here I am 10 years later. So I'm very blessed to be here.
You are a miracle, girl.
I'm a miracle.
Dr. Gary, how is triple-negative breast cancer treated, and are there any recent developments?
Well, triple-negative breast cancer is treated primarily by chemotherapy. Once it becomes metastatic, chemotherapy again is a primary, but we know that there are other drugs like targeted therapies and immunotherapies that are helping women to live longer, and we need more research to develop even more treatments for this disease.
So we need more research. Ricky, what prompted you to begin Touch, the Black Breast Cancer Alliance, and can you explain the disparities that exist and why the disease is more prevalent in Black women?
The mortality numbers for Black women with breast cancer are devastating. We have a 42% higher mortality rate. Black women like me who've had breast cancer, we have a 71% higher risk of death. We have a 39% higher recurrence rate. Black women under 35 get breast cancer at twice the rate and die at 3 times the rate before they can even have their first mammogram at 40. So when you look at those numbers and say, oh my gosh, what's going on? Why is our disease different? Why are black women dying? And I looked at the science and we found that 3% of black women participate in clinical trials. So we really don't have the answers. So I started my foundation to bring the science to the conversation.
Dr. Gary, tell us where our viewers can find more information.
Our viewers can find more information at touchbbca.org. touchbbca.org.
Thank you, Dr. Gary and Ricky, for educating our viewers to the triple-negative breast cancer treatment options that are now available and how to fight this from day one.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Fight like a girl.
Extreme heat can be attributed to death and illnesses, and it's preventable. Extreme heat is defined as summertime temperatures that are much hotter or more humid than average. Fact is, some places like Florida are hotter than others, and what's considered average for a particular location can vary due to humidity and muggy conditions, which can make it seem hotter than it really is. Here to share some tips on how to keep it cool and stay safe in extreme heat this summer is CEO of Infinity Healthcare Group, Joseph DeCapua. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Rosalie.
As a seasoned healthcare professional, and when you have your meetings with your staff, what health resources do you share with doctors and staff members at your primary care offices?
I begin with healthy summer tips offered by the Center for Disease Control's National Center for Chronic Disease Prevention and Health Promotion.
Our skin is the body's largest organ. It's made of water, protein, fats, and minerals. Our skin protects our body from germs and regulates body temperature. Nerves in the skin help us feel sensations like hot and cold. So what tips can you offer for a skin-safe, healthy summer?
Smart sun lovers plan and prepare to keep their skin safe from sunburn and skin cancer. Remember, sunscreen is your best friend. It helps you love your skin and also enjoy the summer weather.
Sunscreen used correctly protects your skin from the sun's rays. However, some research suggests that sunscreen users get burned frequently.
Studies have shown that consumers use much less sunscreen than is needed to effectively protect their skin. So use more than you think you should. Don't apply too little, too thin, because you are not following manufacturer's directions. Remember, follow directions and apply it and reapply as directed.
Joseph, what else can we do to protect our skin from damaging ultraviolet sun rays?
It's important to use a combination of sun safety approaches for effective sun protection. Sunscreen isn't an all-protective force field. It's intended to be combined with other sun safety approaches, like covering up with clothing, staying in the shade, wearing a hat, and scheduling activities to avoid times of day when the sun is most intense, like 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Technology has advanced sunscreens. They're offered in sticks and roll-on application. There's milk-like sunscreens that spread easily and leave no white casts. So those days of the thick paste are over. So it's important to pick a product that you like, the texture, and really use it a lot.
Yes, but coconut oil is not a good sunscreen. The oil itself is not adequate to prevent skin damage. Coconut oil may extend the time to burn for some individuals, but the level of UV protection is very low. So don't rely on coconut oil to protect your skin.
Joseph, share more tips to protect our skin from the sun.
Use common sense. Change outdoor activities to early morning or evening. Wear long sleeve shirts and long pants or skirts made of UPF 50 fabrics, the highest rated fabrics in the world, to provide protection from UV rays. Wear a large brim hat to protect and shade your head, face, and back of your neck and ears. Hats that work best have a fabric, like canvas. Avoid straw hats with holes that let sunlight through. Darker the hat can offer more UV protection. Avoid baseball caps because they don't protect your ears and neck.
And never forget to protect your eyes and the tender skin around your eyes from the sun exposure and ultraviolet rays.
Protect our eyes from the sun and also reduce the risk of cataracts. Wear sunglasses that block both UVA and UVB rays, offer the best protection. Most sunglasses sold in the United States, regardless of cost, meet this standard. Wraparound sunglasses work best because they block UV rays from sneaking in from the side.
How much liquid should we drink when working in extreme heat?
When working in the heat, drink 8 ounces of water every 15 to 20 minutes. That's 24 to 32 ounces per hour. Drinking at shorter intervals is more effective than drinking large amounts and frequently. Avoid sugary or alcoholic drinks. Fuel your muscles and strengthen your bones and boost immunity by grabbing some summer fruits and veggies for a healthy summer meal. Stay safe in summer heat to cool down and stay hydrated.
All right, Joseph, leave us with some final tips for a healthier summer.
The most important tip is if you have missed your annual wellness exam, schedule this now. The annual wellness exam, normally scheduled in January, is your yearly roadmap to stay healthy and help identify early diseases such as diabetes, cancer, heart disease. When there is early detection, chances of a cure is much higher. Learn more to help prevent chronic disease and have a healthy summer. Visit online Infinity Healthcare Group with 3 offices in Broward County, Florida, or call 954-586-8058.
Thank you, Joseph, for joining us with Summer Health Safe Skin Tips.
Thank you, Rosalie. Have a healthy summer.
It's fun in the sun time, so grab a new book to relax poolside and enjoy some me time while improving your memory skills and comprehension, as well as great conversation content to share during backyard barbecues with friends and family. Here with Amazon's best books of the year so far titles that book editors are recommending and raving about as a guide to your summer reads is Al Woodworth, senior editor for Amazon Book Review with over a decade in the book industry and a champion to the work of many authors. Good morning, Al.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Share some of the top book titles that made the final list of Amazon's best books for summer reading.
Sure. Well, Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt is our #1 pick. Everybody's got to read this book. It's absolutely surprising. It stole our hearts. It's about a woman grieving the loss of her husband and trying to reckon with the disappearance of her son years earlier. There's a bit of a mystery in this book. There's a bit of romance. There's an octopus that's involved. It's an incredibly heartwarming story that we just love, that we just want to share with everybody that we know. Our second best book of the year so far is Stephanie Foo's What My Bones Know. This is a deeply personal memoir of her reconciliation with the trauma that she experienced as a child and trying to understand what it means to live with complex PTSD. We couldn't put this memoir down. It's remarkable. All My Rage, then, is our #3 pick. This is by Sabaa Tahir. This is a YA book. I did not know that when I first picked it up, despite our YA editor saying you've got to read this book. I didn't realize. And it's got all of the feels. It's about a Pakistani family in California who are chasing their dreams, even though the world sometimes feels like it's against them. There's so many great books on this list. Those are our top 3. If you're a narrative nonfiction lover and love history, River of the Gods is for you. If you're a romance lover, Emily Henry's Book Lovers is terrific. You can go to amazon.com/best books so far, and you can see our top 20 books, but then you can also look at the books in different categories. So if you love science books, if you're looking for books for your kids, if you're looking for cookbook, food, and wine books, we've got lists that you can explore and discover a wonderful book for you or your family member.
Al, we know a good book can help us de-stress from everyday worries and take us to a world beyond our own, or learn new skills and information. What advice can you offer viewers on how to find a book that fits their interests and needs?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the best books of the year so far is a really wonderful place to start. As I said, you can go to amazon.com/best books so far, and there's a book for everyone on this list. So as you said, if you're looking to learn about history, you can go through our history books. If you're looking for science, if you're trying to understand why in this world our attention spans are not what they were or are, you can read Stolen Focus by Johann Hari, which is an incredible book. There's so many books out there, so I think it's really about trying to understand what you're looking for. If you're looking for a laugh, Molly Shannon's Hello, Molly is a memoir from the Saturday Night Live actor, which is, so incredible. You'll fall in love with her all over again. There's so many books on this list, so it's worth spending some time and clicking through to see what sort of resonates with you.
Take us behind the scenes of the editorial team's selection process and how the editorial teams find their way to select the best books.
Well, I am a team of 8 editors who love books. We're reading all the time. We're here to help customers and readers discover great books. So we put together the best books of the month. We put together the best books of the year so far. You can check out interviews and reviews of books that we're writing on the Amazon Book Review. And that's really why we're here, is to help you find a great book that you'll love. In terms of putting together this list, we're championing the books we love. We're debating about what we think will resonate. Most importantly, we're looking for books that we feel like you just can't stop talking about and won't stop talking about. Books that transport you, where you can learn, where you can be in somebody else's shoes. I think those are the best books, and we're really delighted to share this list with everyone today.
Why does Amazon release this list during the summer?
Well, so these are books that the editorial team at Amazon just love. So they're not driven by sales. These are books that we just feel like everybody's got to read because they'll make you feel passionately, and they'll make you really feel. We put together the top 20 list overall, and then we've got the top 20 picks in popular categories. So if you're a mystery and thriller fan, we've got the best 20 books for you. If you're a history fan or a science fan, if you're looking for books for your kids, we have kids lists according to age. So there's really something for everyone. So it's a pretty big list of books that you can sort of get into and find something that resonates for you, whether you're on a beach or just looking for a break or looking to learn or want to distract your kids.
We know that authors invest lots of time and energy so that they can connect with their readers. Why is it so important for authors to connect with their readers?
We get to interview a lot of different authors for the Amazon Book Review, and you're right, you were talking about it before. There's so much work that goes into publishing a book, so many years, so many emotions, so much concentration, and so our team is really excited to talk about these books that we love, to champion these different authors who have written the best books of the year so far. It's such an honor, and it's very humbling, and we're thrilled that so many readers will get to experience these books now that they're out in the world.
Thanks, Al, for joining us this morning to share Amazon's best reads for summer of 2022.
Thanks for having me.
Catherine Bybee is a #1 Wall Street Journal, Amazon, and Indie Reader best-selling author. Her books have been recognized on bestsellers lists like New York Times and USA Today. Catherine wrote 38 books that sold more than 10 million copies and have been translated into more than 20 languages. Her newest release, When It Falls Apart, is one that many women can relate to in their lives. And so it is for Catherine. When she looks back, when her talents were referred to as a hobby, she took that comment and dismissed the concept by creating a hugely successful career as an author. Good morning, Catherine, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Oh, good morning, Rosalie. It's so wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Catherine, what was the inspiration to write your newest book, When It Falls Apart?
Well, about a year and a half ago, in the middle of the pandemic, my father had another illness that basically put him in a position where he had to live in assisted living. He was no longer able to be independent. And having that conversation with him and, any parent or any child of a parent that is going to be in this situation has to have a conversation about taking away the car keys or moving to assisted living. And I just felt like this was a topic that, why reinvent the wheel when I'm writing my 38th book, right? Why do that? Let's talk about from the heart what I had to deal with. And I put it in the pages of When It Falls Apart.
Catherine, you aspired to become an actress, though reality was you became bored waiting tables for the chance to get your break, but instead you went back to school and became a registered nurse. Did your time as a nurse have any influence on creating a caregiving slant to When It Falls Apart?
Absolutely. The years that I spent, because I was an emergency room nurse. So I've spent and seen a lot of things in my career. And being from a caregiver's perspective and the things that have to happen when somebody's in the hospital, it's nice to be able to write about those instances. And anybody who reads it would have a hard time finding fault with any of the content because I know that. It's something I know really well. I don't know how to be an actress really well. That was a high school dream.
So the book is loosely based on the real life experiences you've had?
Absolutely. The first few chapters of the book are very much my life. When my father was going through the transition of independent living to dependent living, and the illness that brought him to that, and the sacrifices that any child of that parent, myself included, has to go through in order to do all of this. You have to give up your own life, and sometimes your life falls apart in the process. And so yeah, there's a lot of that. And my father and I, we have a very interesting relationship. I didn't meet him until I was a teenager. So there's some abandonment issues that I've had to deal with even as an adult, and some resentment that goes on. And I think there's a lot of people in the same boat out there. And I really do believe that this is going to resonate with them.
Yes, absolutely. I can identify because I was my father's caregiver, and he was a loving, caring father, and I was one of 6 children, and I took on the responsibility as a single mother to care for him after my mother passed. But you had a different personal situation because you did not have that love in your early developing years as a child. You know, it takes a truly strong person filled with compassion to be a caregiver.
Right.
Your character in When It Falls Apart, Brooke Turner, had a complicated relationship with her father until he becomes ill and soon takes on the position of her father's caregiver. How did Brooke's decision change her life dramatically?
Well, she has to move. In the book, I have my heroine in the very beginning of the book somewhere else in a different state. And so when she comes to California, Southern California, she makes that decision to just move here. Her personal relationship at the time is falling apart. And so she has no reason to stay where she's at. So she physically makes the move, but then they have to both make a compromise because she's not happy living where her father was living. And there was no way she was going to be the one that actually physically give him the care, but she will see that he gets the care. And it's a different decision, and some people oftentimes are like, why are you doing this? You should be doing this, or you shouldn't be doing that. And I think that, again, I think this is one of those things where where people will relate, because it's not always a black and white decision, right? Whether you're going to be the caregiver, because it's hard to physically take care of a loved one on a day-to-day basis. It's almost impossible if you're trying to balance a family and children and those types of things. So making that decision to move him into an assisted living facility is a hard one, but she has to uproot her life to do it. And that's a big thing that I believe that a lot of people deal with.
Tell us why you believe that the first 1 million books were the hardest, and where did those sales begin?
They actually begin in my career before I went to traditional publishing with Amazon, in a small press situation. And the first million, the first 100,000 was a tremendous feat. I remember sitting at the Rose Bowl at a concert and looking around going, I think there's this many people have read my books. And that was quite an accomplishment at the time. And here I am many years later, or not too many years, but coming up with ideas and trying to spin a story that everybody wants to read it can be a challenge. So it'd be interesting to see how many more I can write, and how many more, hopefully millions of copies I can sell.
You recently traveled to Europe, where you met with your readers and had book signings for the first time in 3 years. So how did it feel to have that freedom and enjoy a great time to travel again?
Yeah, no, to see my readers again was huge. I haven't signed a book in over 2 years. And, when you have this many books and you've sold this many copies, and again, the languages, right? I was in Edinburgh, so it was an international conference. And so there were people there that brought me stacks of books from Hungary and from other parts of Germany. And it was so good to see them again. This is an introverted job. I sit in front of my computer all the time. So to get out there and actually meet the peeps and have a drink and talk about books, the things that we all love, it was so good to get back in the saddle. Share with our viewers where we can learn more about When It Falls Apart. When It Falls Apart is available everywhere books are sold. And if you go to my website, katherinebybee.com, or you follow me on any of the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, I'm even on TikTok now. Thanks, Katherine, for joining us this morning to share your new book, When It Falls Apart, to add to our summer reads list, as I will. Oh, thank you. I hope you enjoy it. There's much more work and research to be done to identify differences why women of color are more prone to the ravages of breast cancer. We explored why life experiences as a parent's caregiver will reshape your future forever. And now you know the importance of skin healthy safety to protect you from skin cancer. So share with us a life experience that altered your life forever at facebook.com/Rose Lee Show. And follow us on Instagram @The Rose Lee Show. Watch this episode and many others 24/7 at RoseleeArcherShow.com. Thanks so much for joining us this summer morning, and we look forward to seeing you soon.